Hello, welcome to the Economics Tutoring Center. Today we're going to be doing a problem on the income elasticity of demand. Before I begin, I'd like to remind you that teaching methods and ways to approach a problem may vary from instructor to instructor, so make sure you confirm each method with your teacher. Alright, so just as a little bit of background on this problem, when we move from $25,000 to $50,000, we buy 2 cars when we have an income of 25 and 3 when we have an income of 50. And so I'm going to go ahead and do a sample problem where we find the income elasticity of demand for cars, but this can also be done with other objects. So, as far as the equation for solving income elasticity for demand goes, we have the percent change in demand over the percent change in income. Now, there's a little bit of an easier way, sort of like a shortened version of this problem that will allow you to not have to calculate percentages, and it has to do with midpoints. So I'm going to go ahead and write this up here. It's income 1 plus income 2 over 2 all over demand 1 plus demand 2 over 2. So notice that we have both incomes over 2, that's the midpoint, both demands over 2, that's the midpoint of demand, times change in demand over change in income. So we have our midpoint of our incomes, midpoint of our demands, times change in demand over change in income. And before I solve this, I'd like to remind you that these change in demand and change in income can be negative or positive. So you need to be careful to note what direction the change is occurring in, because it's going to affect whether or not your answer is positive or negative. Alright, so I'm going to start subbing in these numbers and finding the income elasticity. So income 1 was 25,000. Income 2, 50,000. Divide that by 2 to do the midpoint, all over demand 1 and 2 over 2. The first demand for cars at 25,000 was 2. The second demand for cars at 50,000 was 3. Alright, and now we have these change formulas. So when we're finding the change, we want to go in the same direction on both of them. So we don't want to calculate from 25 to 50 and 3 to 2. We want to do 25 to 50 and then 2 to 3. So moving in the same direction so that we can figure out how the changes affect whether or not the income elasticity is positive or negative. So as we move from 25,000 to 50,000, we have a $25,000 increase in income. So our change in income is 25,000. And our change in demand, again, moving from the first one to the second one, 2 to 3, is an increase in the quantity purchased of cars. And that's a 1 increase. Alright, so then if we go ahead and we reduce this problem, we have 25 plus 50,000, so 75,000 over 2. And then remember, when you're dividing a fraction by a fraction, you can flip it. So we're going to have 2 plus 3 over 2, because that's the inverse of that fraction. And then all of this times 1 over 25,000. I'm going to change the 2 plus 3 to 5. And then I'm going to start simplifying. So these 2's cancel. And then 5 goes into 75,000 15,000 times. And so we have 15,000 times 1 over 25,000. So if we divide by 1,000, 15 over 25, or simplifying, 3 over 5. So this income elasticity of demand for cars is 3/5, positive 3/5. So as I talked about earlier, it is important to realize whether or not your income elasticity is positive or negative. As we notice here, this one, 3/5, it is positive. And we realize this as being important because as our income increases, our demand for an object or a certain market is also increasing. And what that means is that the good is considered a normal good. So if you remember from earlier topics in economics, inferior goods versus normal goods, if we want to purchase more of something when our income goes up, it's normal. We get more money, we want to spend more money on it. But as you're going to see in the next example, margarine goes down from 10 to 8. And so that then, and we're going to calculate it, so don't worry too much, but that becomes an inferior good because people purchase less of it when they have more income. We hope this tutorial helped you. If you need any more assistance, you're more than welcome to come visit us in the BA building at our Physical Economics Tutoring Center. But have a good day.